guys, Andrew Penman here again for a quick little vlog about the Onan X2. So you're here because either you're an Onan X2 owner, I hate these double words, okay, own an owner or a potential owner, or you want to know a bit more about electric skateboard motors and how they work. This is a great vlog to have a look at that. So first of all, yes, he's got a whiteboard. I got a whiteboard. The reason I got a whiteboard is I'm sick of doing my hands in the air and I want something that I can actually draw on and show you a little bit how this works. So that shouldn't be there. Okay. Now, the other thing I brought in is a bullshit button. Yes, a bullshit button. The reason I've introduced this, it'll be in most of my vlogs, because when I think something's totally bullshit, well, my opinion is I'm going to hit that button. So as a demo, I'll give you a demo.
Warning, bullshit alert.
So you get the idea. And another one.
That was bullshit.
Fair enough. So we're going to be hitting that button from time to time and letting you guys know when I think something's totally rubbish. Okay, what is the issue? Okay, let's have a look at what the issue is. It's only affecting a very small number of Onans, in fact minimal numbers, and I'll just show you what they are. Imagine this is the sales of Onan worldwide, right? So, and I don't work for Onan, and I don't understand how it works, I don't even want to begin to know, but say that's the Onan sales. Each one of those might represent, say, 100 units, okay? Right, and that's the X2 sales. So you imagine that's what's out in the field, out in the whole world. You imagine down here, this is the equivalent of what's been affected. Something like that. Okay.
Bullshit detected. Take precautions.
That was a bullshit stat. Okay, but the point I'm trying to make is it's minimal. It's something that minuscule. It's so limited in its presentation. There's not many out there. So if you think you're getting Onan, you're a bit worried. You think, will that happen to me? It may, but it's a small risk, and it's not a big issue, and you can fix it. And how? With an official factory fix. But call Onan, do a videotape of the issue. If you're not happy with that, they'll replace the wheel, the motor, or the whole unit minus the battery and ship it to you. And Queenie at Wow Technologies, which is Onan, Shenzhen Wow Technologies, Queenie Liang, brilliant. So big thank you to Queenie. She's in sales director or whatever there, and she is incredible. Now, so let's talk about what the issue is. Okay, what the issue is, this is the normal sound of a wheel when you turn it. Probably can hear nothing. Okay, now the other one with the affected wheel, it's a bit rattly. It doesn't affect the performance, doesn't affect the way it rides. When you're on the weight on the road, you won't even hear it. But I went, what's that, when I was running it one day with my hand? What it is, I thought was a bearing, but it's not a bearing at all. It's the actual stator. And I'll just take you through the schematics or the diagnostics of what a motor is and how it works. What are electric skateboard motors? Really simply, they're a normal electric motor. However, a normal motor, the stator and the rotor, like any motor like that, stator is the outside and the rotor is the middle, and it spins around. That's a normal motor. Turning a drive shaft, a vacuum cleaner, hair dryers, everything works that way. Outside stays still, middle spins, and that's what they are. Now, an outrunner motor, which is designed specifically for electric skateboards, segways, electric cars, all devices that perform on a rolling wheel type outside, is an outrunner motor, where the same situation again, instead of the middle spinning and the outside staying still, the middle stays still and the outside spins, meaning it's an outrunner motor. They're DC brushless. They come from this Hang Hong company, machining company. They supply the world's best motors. I know where they've been supplied to. Some of the leading electric car companies get their motors. So what you've got in the Onan and the Cool are very, very, very good electric motors. So let's have a quick look at the whiteboard, how they're made up. This is basically the Onan system. Don't knock my diagram skills. I'm not the world's greatest schematic diagram, technical tech drawing person. That's the hanger through the back there, the black, if you can see that. Okay, now what that red square is the stator, and then that just stays still and it's screwed onto the hanger. Then you've got the blue. It's a little bit of blue just around here on the outside of it, and that blue is your rotor, and that's what spins. Attached to the rotor in the green is your urethane wheels. They just slide on the Onan. They slide on the side, so you can take them off and redo them. And then there in the middle is a big blue bearing, and the big blue bearing, and that's on the inside of those wheels. And the inside here and on there's the big bearing. On the outside there's a small bearing. Now, they're not standard bearings. You can't go to a skating shop and get the outside bearings. And people are asking me, should I change the bearings? Are they good enough? I bought a set of Japanese bearings, grease filled. They cost me like $70, and quite frankly, I won't put them on. The bearings that come with Onan are fine. So this issue is not a bearing issue. It is the stator moving on the hanger. The way you fix that, there's an official factory fix from Onan, and that is to take it apart and then take the bearing off. This outside bearing here, this little one here, exposes a tiny little hole, and it's a grub screw. And when you turn that with an Allen key, and you've got to hunt and find an Allen key, I had to look everywhere for an Allen key to fit it and to turn it round. What it does then, it tightens the stator onto the hanger or the truck, and then it doesn't have that rattle. But look, it doesn't affect the performance. It still goes well. It's just something you'll only hear when you run it by hand. Otherwise, if you ride on the road, you won't hear it. So I'm going to throw now to how I fixed it and a little example of my incredible technical skills on how to actually, fix this. Okay, I won't. I was about to push the bullshit button, but I won't. What you will need is to get that bearing off, to expose that little hole for the grub screw to just tighten. It's a simple job. It's very hard to get the bearing off. So what I did, I went to China and got myself a little mini bearing puller. I'll put a link below. I'll put it on the background so you can see it there. A mini bearing puller. It looks like Terminator or Alien. And you just wind it, and as it winds on, it just pulls off the bearing, as you can see, and put rubber along these parts, and that just pulls the bearing off, because you've only got a very small area of room to pull the bearing off without touching the windings of the motor, which you'll see in my video. I'm going to show you now. So get yourself one of these, $8 free shipping, not the screen, the puller, and get yourself the bearing off, tighten it up, put it all back together again. You'll see how I'll come back in a second, show you how to do it. That should fix the problem. Mine got a lot quieter and hardly noticeable, so that's one way of fixing this, and I'll come back in a sec, guys, so have a look at this. First thing you'll need is a screwdriver. You'll need a range of Allen keys to fit the certain hubs, screws. The first things first, we take the screwdriver and we take the cover off, which it comes off pretty, there we go, pops off, sorry. Just my fingernails weren't long enough. Then what you got to do is undo this nut on the end, which is here, which you find the right, one of these little tools they get with most of the skateboards. Just undo the nut. That nut comes off. You'll now find you'll need to remove these 4 screws here, and I'll come back in a second and show you when that's done. They come off, they've got a little spring washer on them, as you can see there. Don't lose that, so put them in a group. Then this cover simply just, I'm working against gravity here, but that cover comes off, which holds down the motor rotor cover. That can just go there. Now, okay, you've also got to remove the 4 screws underneath holding the back cover plate on, and that's done with a the same Allen key again in there, and we'll just get these undone as well. That releases the back of the wheel, so you put it back on its side like that, and you'll see it starting to come loose. I'll just come back in a second. The secret to getting these off is just to pull them. So I'll show you now how to do that. Okay, and that just pulls off like that. And there's all the inside of the magnets, same as exactly the same as the Mellow. It's got the half rounded magnets, and that's where the bearing fits on the outside. That's the motor, and that's where the bearing housing is on the back. Now once you pull the bearing off here, which is not easy, you need a bearing puller to get in behind without damaging these wires. Once you get the bearing off, you'll notice there's a little tiny hole just here. See that hole there? Right? Now what you need to do is get a very small Allen key, and I don't know the exact gauge, but you'll play with it, and you've got to get it into that little hole, and you'll feel it tighten, and you've got to turn it until it tightens. That's it. That then helps the stator pull itself into the underside somehow. But anyway, that's the instructions I'll be giving. That little tiny hole, and unfortunately it is under the bearing. So you need to remove the bearing to tighten that little tiny screw. And then it's just the reverse process. Put the bearing back on again. The motor cover goes back on there, and then you reassemble it. But I'll do that and I'll show you. Once you've actually got the rotor cover back on, there's a tiny little, if you can see here, there's a tiny little spring washer that sits on the other side of the bearing. So you'll never get this cover on really hard. It just goes to a certain point. Then my advice, get yourself some washers. The best size one is that, and put it on top of it like that, and use this nut to pull that rotor cover down on that bearing. Okay, I'll come back when I've done that. Tighten that as tight as I can get it. And now we're going to loosen it off, of course. Just one sec. If you look at that, you'll see it's pulled it right in tight. Okay, so while now you've got the side screwed on there, you can just put the wheel back on, which goes on. Okay, so it's all on. Now I've just put these cover plates on here, which I've screwed on. One spins quite quietly, and we'll just test it now. So we'll just turn on the remote. Thank you for coming back. As you can see, it wasn't too hard. Okay.
Bullshit level, DEFCON 5.
It wasn't too hard. It was okay hard. It was reasonably hard. You don't have to do it. You can just send it away and get it replaced. But that's one thing you guys can do. I know a lot of you guys are quite techo smart out there, so you can have a go at that. Look, thanks for watching, guys. That's just the quick fix on the Onan X2. It's a small little issue with the hanger, the rotor not connecting properly with this little fitting. But don't be deterred or put off. It's a great electric skateboard booster. This is still the most powerful one, more powerful than the Cool Wheel for hill climbs, for drive. I love it. I'm starting to really warm to this more and more. I'm giving it anyway the same rating as Cool Wheel, to be honest. I'm doing the speed test, I'm doing the hill climb test. I think it'll come up pretty high, if not same as Cool Wheel. It'll come up probably a high rating. I'm really in love with this thing. I think it's a mellow kick in the butt version, and it's going to do some serious damage to those kind of land wheel, mellow, the click-on add-on systems that are coming on. This is an incredible little unit, so well made. Thanks guys for watching. Andrew Penman signing off. I promise I'll get out of this place soon, out in the field. Come with me the next couple of days down to the skate shop in Manly. I'll take you for a ride on my skateboard, and we'll go in there and check out some stuff, have a look at the Evolve, put my new Zulu board next to the Evolve. We'll see what an 1,800 Australian dollars, 2,000, you know, whatever, you know, New Zealand dollars, is that right? I don't know. But anyway, the difference of that to a Cool Wheel, which is only, you know, 500 Australian dollars it was shipping. So these are a little bit cheaper than Cool Wheels. These boosters are incredible. You need to supply your own deck. You've got to fix them. You've got to put them together. But look, you know, each their own. Thank you guys. Love your work. Thanks for coming. I'll be here all week. As I say, happy skating, safe skating. I'll see you in the next vlog, especially we'll go for a cruise in my car and we'll go to Manly. Thank you so much. Signing off. Thank you. Why won't that come off? Why won't this come off? What the hell? See, these permanent?